welcome to Jharkhand's first ever Global Investor Summit. Last week we brought to you highlights from the inaugural ceremony attended by a host of dignitaries. This week we bring you key updates from sessions which will focus on the vast investment opportunities that lie in Jharkhand. So let's start by hearing how the state's infrastructure can be leveraged for sustained economic development.
It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome all the dignitaries and delegates to the first Mometum Jharkhand, a global investor summit organized in the capital city of Ranchi. The importance of infrastructure for a sustained economic development is well recognized. The high transaction costs arising from inadequate and inefficient infrastructure can prevent the economy from realizing its full growth potential, regardless of the progress on other fronts. The physical infrastructure covering transportation, power and communication through its backward and forward linkages facilitates growth and development. The performance of the social and economic infrastructure is largely a reflection of the performance of the economy. Keeping this in view, the today's session is aimed at to identify our current potential and capabilities in the energy, tourism and regional connectivity sector and finding out the huge opportunities for investment in the state. I am sure the session today will provide an excellent platform for exchange of ideas and suggestions. It's indeed a great opportunity for August gathering to come together, deliberate and understand the investment opportunities and benefits of infrastructure development. With these words, I once again extend very warm welcome to all the dignitaries and delegates. Thank you.
We now request Shri Abhay Krishna Agarwal, partner Ernst & Young LLP, to kindly make his presentation on overview and investment opportunities across energy and regional connectivity sectors.
The state has made a lot of journey in terms of making things easier for private sector, and the state is actually focusing on manufacturing, and for manufacturing and mining, road transport and power is very, very important. So road, rail and waterways, because the combined transportation cost through a real multimodal approach is far lower than a single mode, particularly road transport sector. And to that extent, I think what state is trying to do, and this presentation becomes very important, is to get investment in power sector, both in terms of generation, transmission, distribution, and renewable. In terms of energy infrastructure, already state has become this year self-sufficient, not only on overall generation, but also on the peak demand basis. Being a mining state with 40% mine being owned by the state, there is a lot of mining opportunity in the state in terms of coal blocks. There's a huge investment opportunities in the state in all the three sectors. And you can be in touch with the state as well as our team to get details on those projects. Thank you so much.
Can I please request for an address by our chief guest, Shri Jayant Sinha, Honorable Union Minister of State, Civil Aviation, Government of India.
Welcome to Jharkhand. I'm saying it as a proud Jharkhandi. All the things that we have dreamed about, that we have worked for, that we have thought about for Jharkhand are happening now. And Mometum Jharkhand is a wonderful example of how we are bringing the best and the brightest, the most important, the most prominent industrialists around the world here to Jharkhand so that Jharkhand can progress, Jharkhand can develop, and you can develop as well. Jharkhand is rich in natural resources, Jharkhand is rich in solar irradiation, Jharkhand has talented people, Jharkhand has water, Jharkhand has everything that any region needs. Unfortunately, the people of Jharkhand are poor. So the state is rich, but the people are poor. And as I said, because of Mometum Jharkhand, because of what is happening here under the leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, we are really beginning to develop Jharkhand to build the Jharkhand of our dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, Jharkhand is rich. Jharkhandis are also going to be rich and prosperous. That is what we are doing. As we said, we measure our success in your success. So whatever we are doing in the government, whatever our vision is, it has to start with you. And not just the people of Jharkhand, but the businessmen and investors who want to come here. We're doing it so you can make a profit, you can make money, because unless you succeed, unless your business succeeds, it's not possible for us to create the jobs, the wealth, and the taxes that we need for the people of Jharkhand to progress. So please don't be shy about it. If you want to make money, if you want to make good investments, if you want to generate sufficient return on your capital, Jharkhand is the place. It's all happening now, right here. That's our vision. We want everyone to flourish. We want everyone to succeed. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Jharkhand.
Now we will move on to the address by our guest of honor, Shri Amar Kumar Bauri, Honorable Minister of State, Revenue and Land Reforms, Art, Culture, Sports and Youth Affairs.
झारखंड मोस्ट इमर्जिंग स्टेट है और 2000 में अलग होने के बाद, बिहार से अलग होने के बाद, इसने अपने पोटेंशियल को आज दुनिया के सामने रखा है। सभी सेक्टर्स में आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में उन तमाम बाधाओं को हम लोगों ने सरल करने का काम किया है, जिससे एक निवेशक के रूप में आपको सुविधाएं मिल सकती है। यहाँ के लोग मेहनती हैं, यहाँ के लोग आपके साथ मिल करके आगे बढ़ने के लिए हमेशा तैयार हैं। हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी और पूरा झारखंड आपके लिए आपके इंतज़ार में बैठा हुआ है। ये सारे सेक्टर्स आप सबके लिए खुले हुए हैं। आप पूरे कमिटमेंट के साथ आते हैं तो रघुवर दास जी की सरकार आपके कमिटमेंट को पूरा करने के लिए पूरा दम के साथ आपके साथ खड़ी है। पूरा झारखंड की जनता आपके साथ खड़ी है।
Now we will move on to a presentation on the overview and investment opportunity across tourism sector by Shri Rahul Sharma, Secretary, Department of Tourism, Government of Jharkhand.
Tourism in India accounts for 7.5% of the GDP. And if we see that the employment contribution growth is 7%, the national growth in employment in tourism sector is around 7%. And that is true for Jharkhand also, it's around between 7 and 8%. So the kind of growth that we are seeing in the tourism sector in employment in Jharkhand is really good. And we want to keep the momentum. That is why this progressive policy, and we are inviting investors to the various tourist destinations, in travel, in hotel resort sector. I would just like to touch upon the policy that we have. If we see, we are offering incentives in investment, then interest subsidy, and employment generation also for the in the Provident Fund thing. We offer 50% subsidy if people hire more than 50 people, and on integrated multiplex complexes, we offer the entertainment tax policy. It's being framed, and I think it's going to be announced during the summit only, that 100% exemption, entertainment tax exemption for 5 years is being granted. And putting up new hotels and resorts, where the policy offers exemption of luxury tax for 5 years, which I feel is a very attractive proposition. Thank you.
Immense investment opportunities await in Jharkhand, and to tap this, the corporate world has outlined the scope in different sectors which will impact the state's industrialization.
I believe there is something so powerful that Jharkhand has to offer in terms of ecotourism, heritage tourism, pure natural beauty, jungles, rivers, all that has been referred to, and the wonderful folk culture of this nation, of this state. Having said that, let me just tell you about the interest of Mahindra. One of our companies called Club Mahindra. Club Mahindra has resorts, 77 resorts. At the moment, 36 in India across various states and 42 outside India. We are very interested in making 2 resorts, at least, in Jharkhand.
Inland water transportation in India has not been anything new. Right from the epic times, we have instances and stories of people using the waterways for transportation, for ferrying people, for passenger movement. The British used it, the Mughals used it, and there was a lot of movement. Now, what are the business opportunities? People are here who are willing to look at business opportunities. So inland water transportation gives you opportunity for investment, number one, in hydrographic survey. Basically, we have to construct road in the waterway, that is what we say. Second opportunity is dredging. So far, we were doing dredging through our dredgers, leasing it out. But last year, we've come out with tenders for dredging through the market. The third opportunity is construction of terminals. The fourth is operation and maintenance of terminals. The fourth would be cruise operation. Lot of cruises are already operating on these waterways. So there are there are tourist locations. Cruise operation is another opportunity. Then there are barge movement of barges, operation of barges. You can move coal and fertilizer on these waterways. Then barge construction is an opportunity. You need to have ship repair facilities also, training facilities, consultancy. So there are a lot of business opportunities here.
The theme of this particular session is connectivity and energy. And we are in the business of providing connectivity to the power plants and the consumers. We offer our investment to the state of Jharkhand, both in terms of transmission line infrastructure, and also we have a unique business model where we provide optic fiber through the transmission lines. What we notice is that the state wants a speedy development. And let me assure you, sir, that Sterlite Power is reputed to bring all the innovation from the world to speed up the projects.
We've actually done a lot of work besides roads. We are in skills, we are in electricity and all of that. But I think the single booster to development in Jharkhand is your low urbanization. And if we are not able to capture the effect of the growing urban population, which will definitely happen in Jharkhand, I think we will be failing in our duty of providing connectivity. Because if we are able to provide connectivity, you probably will be able to keep more people outside of the urban areas, asking them to commute to work rather than come and work in the urban areas itself. So I think this is one very major step that Jharkhand has to probably look at. You can look at it from any infrastructure sector, but the burgeoning or the population growth that is going to take place in the urban sector will definitely have to be handled in a very planned manner.
The first thing to understand about the Hyperloop is that it's based on existing technologies. We didn't invent anything. We just took the best technologies available in the market, we put it together in an amazing way, and we created a system that is the safest and the more efficient ever invented by humanity. We have more than 800 professionals from 42 countries. So aside of our core team of 35 full-time employees, we have a cooperation system of 800 people from 42 countries, including India. We have 30 people from India, and they're amazing engineers. We are building and creating an amazing ecosystem. So if you sum the amount of engineering that we have more than 3 centuries of experience in transportation. And every day, people are asking to join our team. Please do it. And we're not only asking for partnerships or single individuals, we're partnering with partners, local partners, because Hyperloop will be developed locally. Make in India, but make it in Jharkhand. And this is why we are here. The government, we met the Chief Minister, we are discussing several projects here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Time for a short break. On the other side, we'll discuss the investment potential in Jharkhand's urban infrastructure. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Mometum, Jharkhand's Global Investor Summit. In this segment, we focus on investment opportunities in Jharkhand's urban infrastructure, which is the center of economic growth.
आज का दिन हम सबों के लिए बड़ा ही ऐतिहासिक है कि झारखंड में पहली बार इतने बड़े पैमाने पर ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर समिट का आयोजन हुआ है। विभागीय मंत्री होने के नाते आप सबों को इस सेमिनार में शामिल होने के लिए धन्यवाद देता हूं। मैं यहाँ पर उन सभी निवेशक, विभिन्न औद्योगिक प्रतिष्ठानों और व्यवसाय से आए प्रतिनिधि, शोधकर्ता और विद्यार्थियों का भी स्वागत करता हूं। मैं आशा करता हूं कि इस सेमिनार के माध्यम से आपको झारखंड में निवेश की क्षमताओं के बारे में बहुत सी जानकारी मिलेगी तथा यहाँ हो रहे तमाम रिफॉर्म्स को जानने के बाद आपको झारखंड का उज्जवल भविष्य दिखेगा। निश्चित रूप से आप सबों का मैं स्वागत करते हुए अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूँ। जय भारत, जय झारखंड।
Our next speaker would dwell upon the introduction to the urban sector and investment opportunities in Jharkhand. It will be dwelled by Mr. Arun Kumar Singh, IAS, Principal Secretary, Urban Development and Housing Department, Government of Jharkhand.
Today is a momentous day for the state of Jharkhand as Jharkhand takes a leap and moves ahead to create an environment which will have immense employment opportunities for the youth, which would usher in new era, which would bring more revenues to the state, which would bring more prosperity to the state. And urban development and housing department has a major role to play. As you are aware, they are the center of economic growth, and if we develop the urban areas in a systematic and planned manner, then the whole environment looks up, the whole scenario brightens, and the people in the rural areas also get the benefit of that. We have a website which is very interactive and has all the information. You can access that website of JUDCO and you can have all the information, and for further information we are always available. With this I complete my address. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker, Mr. Rajiv Gauba, IAS, Secretary, Ministry of Urban Development from Government of India.
Mometum Jharkhand is not a one-off event, but it is a culmination of a long-drawn process during which new policies have been framed, the regulatory requirements have been considerably simplified. Of course, it will have to be a continuous exercise. The point that I want to impress upon, being from the Ministry of Urban Development, is that improving cities is equally important to the endeavor of attracting investments. It's high time that we started recognizing this as an essential adjunct to the entire ease of doing business. The planning reforms, the finance reforms, governance reforms, they need to be taken up right in earnest to make the task of urban transformation feasible in Jharkhand. And I'm sure that the way the policy landscape and the regulations have been eased in the last 2 years in all sectors, including urban development, this also will happen under the leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister and the Honorable Urban Development Minister of the state. I wish all of you success in this endeavor, and to all the prospective investors, I think this is a great opportunity to come and invest in Jharkhand and partner in the progress in what will be nothing but a win-win for all of you. Thank you.
Strategic urban planning is the impetus of development for every state, and focusing on the same, we bring you highlights of dignitaries discussing everything from affordable housing, urban planning to smart mobility for smart cities.
Housing, which I am here to cover, is the third largest employer in the country after IT and agriculture. So what does National Housing Bank do in all this? We do regulation of housing finance companies, that's number one. We do a lot of promotion and development activities. For example, we have even now offered to work with the Jharkhand Housing Board to do some of their policies and projects. We also do a lot of refinancing to both housing finance companies as well as to the banks. As on date, on the Rural Housing Fund, we have funded for about 15 lakh houses, and on the Urban Housing Fund, we have funded about 1.66 lakh cumulative disbursements on total cumulative disbursements. On the Urban Housing Fund, we have funded about 2 lakh units so far on refinancing.
ITDP is a global organization, and our work is to promote sustainable and equitable transportation, and we do this across the world in Asia, Africa, Latin America. And Ranchi happens to be one of those cities which is our, a very important city for us, where we've been working for the last half decade to help the city transform itself so that its transportation is sustainable and equitable.
Urban India definitely has a lot of challenges, and it also provides opportunities. A recent World Bank report has said that urbanization in India is both messy, which we all know, unserviced land, traffic and all those kinds of problems, but it's also hidden. We need to have sustainable and inclusive urban growth, and fortunately with all those urban missions which Government of India has now started, and if we can link them together and leverage that for funding from private sector, it will be a very positive things forward. And I find in Jharkhand, these are all positive steps. I think private real estate developers as well as people who invest in urban infrastructure should seriously look at Jharkhand for their investment in future.
The world is more urban than rural. The reason why we are urbanizing and the world is urbanizing, because cities are the engines of growth. They produce 70% to 80% of GDP, which is very good, very positive. But they also produce 70% of greenhouse gases, 80% of waste, and huge amount of pollution as well. So I'm coming to a point that unless we plan the city right, all the wealth creation will not be sustainable. And therefore it is very important for us, transport and urban planning has to be intertwined and linked, which is the avoid part. Shift. You shift your focus, you shift your attention, and you shift your priorities to modes which are efficient, like public transport, walking, cycling, and then improve the quality of fuels, the quality of vehicles, and using technology for improvement.
There has been mention about smart cities in Ranchi. I thought, having been a bit fortunate to have been involved with the process, I'll give a little bit more context to what this plan is, and also what is it that makes it smart. We have been discussing a whole range of what is good to have in urban development from a transit perspective, from a high density, and actually a lot of what you have heard so far, you will see embedded into the plans of the Smart City Ranchi Greenfield project. It's the only one of its kind amongst all the smart city developments being taken up by cities. Of the 60 cities that have been sanctioned so far, Ranchi is the only greenfield city, and therefore gives us an opportunity to really pioneer a kind of development which is not there, not just in the state, but not there across most of India.
Next week, we focus on many other thrust areas of Jharkhand that help present the state as an investment-ready destination.